Colonel Rob Maness has a lifelong record of providing dedicated service to this nation. Having worked his way up from the enlisted ranks to full colonel, he served our country for more than 32 years. He has served as a bomber squadron commander, bomb disposal technician, Joint Chiefs of Staff Operations Officer, assisted the National Security Team with the campaign plan for the global war on terrorism. He authored the first theater nuclear war plan and served as the Vice Commander of America's largest airborne intelligence wing. Colonel Rob Maness is a true American hero. This is Rob Maness Live.
The power. It's your money.
It's
It's your money. And you could throw these bums out, and that's why they put the pro wrestling to divide you in the foreground. Because they don't want to talk about the Bloomberg article today. They don't really want to walk through what's in these $6 trillion of spending. It's a 2,700-page bill. Has anybody explained that bill to you?
Wow.
Has anybody sat there and said, let me take an hour and walk you through where $1.25 trillion that you and your kids are going to pay back? Let's at least have enough respect for you that we'll explain to you. No, you will not see that anywhere because they're never going to do it. You know why? They understand an informed electorate is informed consent. Right? They don't want that. They want you to be distracted by the bread and circuses on one level of pop entertainment, but also when you get into politics or it's cable news, it's all pro wrestling. It's not the thing itself. If it's the thing itself, we wouldn't have these kind of issues that pop up out of nowhere.
Let's go to
Throw all the bums out. Exactly. Welcome to Truth Thursday on the Rob Maness Show live and on our X Spaces simulcast. While our government is out of touch with the people, Speaker Mike Johnson handed the Democrats everything they ever dreamed of and more. That's from a supporter's Twitter account or X account post of our guest today. And Hakeem Jeffries, a Marxist and a Democrat minority leader in the House of Representatives, brazenly brags on national television that he and his band of merry communists are now controlling the legislative agenda through the Republican Speaker's office. Man, America is $36 trillion in debt. $36 trillion. And even with a so-called arch conservative in the Speaker's seat, we are not able to extricate ourselves from the massive financial collapse that will eventually come. When that happens, none of the endless war policy, spying on our own citizens without a warrant, or government benefit payouts will matter. I tell you, though, we could still save this country. Even now, with many false Republicans, when they've already been reelected to their seats of power in the Congress in their primaries, we still have opportunities to change things. Every 2 years, that's the election cycle for the House of Representatives, and for good reason, to enable us to remove the bad actors there. But the challenge is, do we, the people, have the will to get the job done? Well, we present to the voters today another opportunity to do so, folks. My guest is Speaker Mike Johnson's primary opponent in Louisiana's 4th Congressional District, Josh Murat. Josh is a Louisiana native born on Fort Polk, the son of a U.S. Army veteran who grew up in a small town where I'm sure he learned the value of hard work, community, and family. He's a dedicated dad and husband, a school teacher, and former insurance agent. Josh, welcome to the Rob Maness Show.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure. It's a great privilege. I consider you are all of our veterans with the highest esteem. So it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
Well, thank you very much, and we honor your dad's service and your family's service because families serve in America's military. I was an Air Force kid myself, Josh. Well, I have to ask, did I get your background right? Is there anything you want to add to that? Because you're a candidate, and everybody that's listening and that's going to ask you questions from our live audience today wants to know everything there is about you, because Mr. Johnson has really fired people up to remove him.
Yes, sir. The only thing I would want to correct is I'm single. I used to be married. Yes, sir. But that's
Okay.
that's the only question.
All right. Well, thanks for that. And then the very next question, every candidate has to answer this question. Why are you running?
Honestly, I see the bigger picture. I see the big picture with what's going on with what DC's become. It's not for the American people at all. I see it's East Coast Hollywood. I keep calling it East Coast Hollywood because that's all it is. They're up there making those backdoor deals. They're up there stealing, lying, and cheating, and then getting in front of the camera and either will throw out a Bible or a quote from the Bible, and it seems to almost magically work on the people. Except for I think people are starting to wake up and realize that we no longer are looking at the United States of America. We're looking at something totally different. This is they made history by raiding Trump at Mar-a-Lago. I could probably think of numerous scandals from previous politicians that weren't even touched. And so it really shows you that we have a rogue government, and only regular people, citizen legislators like it used to be, need to step up and run for office, and that's what I'm doing.
Well, that's what our system was designed to do. The founders didn't design a system to create a career path for politicians from the time they entered professional life until they die in office. I mean, that's literally what we have become. Congress has the control of purse strings, and we're going to talk about all those issues today on the show. I don't know how long ago it was that you announced your campaign, but what's your path to victory? That's another question that you're going to get asked very often, especially by the left-wing media, because they love talking to people that haven't run for office yet and trying to put us in our place,
Yes, sir. Just grassroots effort. If I have to get out there, stand on the busy intersection of a street at the different cities in our district, I'll do that. If I have to get the message out, we deserve better. We deserve American citizens that are fighting for everyone, not just for the rich and powerful.
Or absolutely. And in the 4th District, you have Barksdale Air Force Base. Fort Polk, I believe, is in the 4th District still. So you have a lot of veterans plus active duty forces and those kind of things. So what are you hearing as you go around the district from voters on the ground? Because I know you're out there knocking on doors and talking to people at events and everything.
There's a whole lot of resentment and anger, and rightfully so. They're not being heard. They're being ignored. No one likes to be ignored. The mainstream media has been ignoring me through my numerous calls and texts, emails. So I know what that feels like. It doesn't feel good. And at the same time, they're forcing policies down our throats. They're forcing taxes down our throats. People in the district are fed up. The entire country is, for that matter, is fed up. We see what is going on with Trump. We see it clear as day. It's election interference. It's persecution. They can't make anything stick on the guy, so they're going to go after him, with this. And it's absolutely silly that he's being put through all the hell that he's been put through. And I think if it was anybody else that could not stand on their own 2 feet with their own bank account, they would have already tumbled and fell. I think he's a remarkable person to withstand all the attacks. You said that people out there calling you a traitor, they're calling me a traitor, they're calling us Russian sympathizers, and it's like, how on earth am I fighting for American policy? Can you even equate that with anything foreign related? I see our government, the people in our district want somebody that will not be part of that club, and that's me.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that you have some people on social media that like to fling out terms like that without knowledge and without thinking, and that's the world we live in. We saw Mr. Johnson, go up to New York not too long ago to show some support for President Trump in the trial and everything. What are your thoughts on that? On the trial itself, the trial for the so-called falsifying business documents, crimes that are beyond they're beyond their limitations as far as statute of limitations goes. So they had to make a felony up to try the guy. But Johnson did go up there, so you got to give him props for that. But what are your thoughts on the trial and Johnson's move to get in front of the cameras at this point after some of the things he's done?
Yeah, I saw that Justice League, act, and it's just, I can't stand the theatrics. I hate politics. I really hate the theatrics. They're all Johnson, and he's now finally being called out in the media. Even the left media is finally calling him out on him griping and pointing the fingers constantly at Biden. And I remind people, not so fast. Biden cannot cut any check. He can't write the checks. Every single thing that they're doing is being funded by Congress. So it's disingenuous for Mike Johnson to go up there, showboat, and pretend like he's fighting for the right stuff when he's part of the problem. He's now part of that group and that club. I call it deep state. I think they've reeled him in, just like they reeled in half of that group, if not majority of the group up there. I keep wondering why the citizens of that district that he's being prosecuted in are not raising hell. They should be asking for perhaps defunding of that court system. I think it's time that American citizens start taking their country back, and that entails stepping up, running for office, getting into those positions, and course correcting. I would say we need to start asking and start defunding our school systems. They've become radical left, indoctrinating propaganda machines. If you want to turn a nation around, it's through your education, it's through your children. They have bred birth out probably the past 30, 40 years. They've successfully bred in a new anti-social or not anti-American sentiment going on. And a lot of them are, I would say, a lot of them are antisocial personality disorders out there. It's
absolutely right. We see it every single day, Josh. Let's go over to the live audience. Patriot Rob's our host over there, and take a question before we take our first commercial break.
Yes,
Patriot Rob, you got a question for us?
Yeah, we do. Sorry about that, Colonel. Josh, thank you very much for coming in today. It's greatly appreciated. AJ, go ahead.
Thank you for the mic. Mr. Marotte, I have a question regarding how is it that you're planning on fending off attacks regarding your challenge to Speaker Johnson, given the fact that he has, he has Democrat support, and that comes with Democrat support media. And it's sort of an uphill battle. Not that I am trying to discourage you, absolutely not. But what are your thoughts on that? Thank you.
My only challenge is getting a platform and letting people know I exist. I don't even sweat that at all. I think the people are now speaking up, and they're feeling betrayed, disgusted with Mike Johnson. He's done a complete 180 on everything since he's became speaker. I'm not even that focused at all on the fact that he's got a powerful position. I'm not even focused on anything other than I see the call to action. I see I see what they're doing. They're lying, cheating, and stealing, and they're destroying America from within. They're manipulating every single thing that you could think of, and somebody's got to get up there and, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and start raising some cane about everything. Be the voice of opposition. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't. If I go over, you just have to pause me or stop me.
Don't worry about that. We've got plenty of time, but we do have to take a commercial break now. And when we come back, though, I want to dive into the specific issues. You've got a great website that lays out the issues that are important to you in your campaign, Josh. And when we come back, we'll hear from Mike Johnson directly about his betrayal of the American people about the border issue. And I'll be right back with Josh Murat, the Speaker's opponent in Louisiana 4. We'll be right back.
A lot of people are having great success with a weight management program with Bella Trim, but it's just a tool. In terms of ingredients, Chromex or chromium picolinate improves the actions of insulin, so you have better glucose management, and in addition, it promotes fat utilization. Fat utilization or fat burning is also a feature of metabolite, which are two botanicals that stimulate a switch called AMP kinase, and so you tend to burn fat, reduce belly fat or visceral fat. Who doesn't want that? Metabolite has the ability to stimulate satiety or reduce those cravings. That's really very, very important. And it does that by raising GLP-1 levels. In addition, we've addressed the microbiome by using prebiotics. Healthier microbiome, better weight management.
Experts say that Russian hackers found a way to hack our utilities, and the hackers may still be in there, waiting to strike.
Go after their power, go after their water, and you can bring a nation to its knees.
They're identifying targets, they're positioning malware so they could pull the trigger when they wanted to.
Experts see the intrusion as a possible precursor to an unprecedented Russian cyber attack that could, in the event of war, devastate the U.S.
We know that China has been hacking everything they can and stealing our intellectual property. They want to take down America's economy. They want to take down our morale. They understand that if they can destroy our economy, they can destroy our future. We're at war.
Telling all of you, and we've told the American people, border, border, border. We have to effect real policy change at the border, and that is a necessary condition to anything we do going forward.
We have to take care of our border first. That's what the American people demands.
Every state in America is now a border state.
Border, border, border. How can we be engaged in securing the border of foreign countries if we can't secure our own?
We know the urgency in Ukraine. We're going to stand for freedom and make sure that Vladimir Putin doesn't march through Europe.
It's past time to secure the border.
Listen, this is a catastrophe down here.
The battle is for the border.
President Biden wants a supplemental spending bill. It better begin by defending America's national security. Okay, these are dangerous people who are coming into the country. Over 300 known terrorists.
How can we be engaged in securing the border of foreign countries if we can't secure our own?
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's Truth Thursday today, and there was some truth right there, folks. Speaker and Congressman Mike Johnson of Louisiana, back before he betrayed us on requiring border security funding and you heard him, any supplemental funding measure, any funding measure has to secure America's border first. And he betrayed us. That's why I wanted to show that little humorous clip there. Don't forget it, because this man is a friend of mine. I consider him a friend, but as a friend, I have to call him out and hold him accountable for his actions. And that's what our guest today is doing. Mr. Joshua Murat of the 4th District of Louisiana is running against Mr. Johnson in the jungle primary in Louisiana. And Joshua, you have a pretty extensive statement about border security and other issues associated with that on your website. what's your position? First of all, let's take on Johnson's actions there, and then let's lay out your positions on securing the border and what we need to do to make the American people safe first before we do anything else.
Oh, I thought you were cutting to a video clip. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. It's disingenuous. Anytime I hear him talk, or any of them really talk, it's disingenuous. They're full of crap. They're the ones funding the opposition, and they're funding the enforcement. They're funding the invasion. They're the ones. Congress is funding the federal prosecutors that are going after Texas right now. They're the ones that are funding all the shenanigans of the Biden administration, or you can call it Obama's administration. Not one bit are they really being sincere. If they wanted to do anything about the border, they would have. Mike Johnson he's got an incredible position of authority that he can use that, and he's not. He's doing whatever he wants to do. And it's not the will of our district. It's not the will of the American people. People want that border closed and secure. I want that border closed and secure. It makes no sense at all to just have any parts of our border to where somebody could just come in and make camp. That just makes no sense at all.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Congress has the power of the purse. That's the real power here. And Mr. Johnson didn't stop funding the Department of Homeland Security that is doing things like not enforcing the current law. We see Schumer's wanting to pass a border bill all of a sudden because they're desperate. The election's coming, and they know now they're desperate. And we know that's a big reveal right there when he came out yesterday and saying, we need to pass a border bill. But there's no reason to pass new law if you're not going to enforce old law, is there?
Correct. There's too many laws, and then they're ignoring it. They have created their own DC ruling class up there, where the rules only apply to certain citizens, and it don't apply to any of them that make up the rules, make up the laws. They've already captured a handful of terrorists, and it makes you wonder how many other people have crossed over the border that mean to do us harm. My position is that I can't say it on any social platform. My position is people should be allowed to go with a rifle and stand at the border and just shoot people that dare to come across. They will get the message not to do it. They will, you get shot at, you're going to turn around, or you may try to chance it. I think Texas is onto something. They need to. It's just crazy. Everything we're watching. I honestly think that a coup took place in America. I think a coup took place in 2021 by the Democrats. I think they have been running the show. They've been running the country into the ground with their policies, and it's not anything short of being a traitor. And it just, none of it makes any sense. There's somebody behind the curtain, like there's an Oz pulling the strings of Mike Johnson. There's an Oz up there pulling the strings of Joe Biden. Not 1 second do I believe, and I don't think anybody really believes, Joe Biden is in charge. Mike Johnson is the one funding every single policy he's out there complaining about. And that, I want to bring this up real quick. I think one good reason why he's doing it is because he himself don't know what's in those bills that he's been passing. He himself hasn't been reading, because I don't think any of them read a 5,000-page book. Nobody is going to sit there and read bull crap of 5,000 pages. Nobody. 2,000, 4,000, whatever you want to call it. I think most of the time it's lobbyists that are behind those doors, cracking it open, writing all their good tidbits in there, their little pork projects, the little kickbacks with your money, with the American people's money. All they're doing is stealing it and moving it around from here to there, and they're doing it legally. And they're doing it right in front of our faces. They're doing it blatantly in our faces. They have no shame. They're not even trying to hide anything anymore. But he's out there griping, complaining about this, that, and the other on Twitter and all faith. He's the one funding everything. Congress is the most powerful branch. They hold the purse. They get to decide what gets funded and what's not. And yeah, ultimately it's the president that signs that into law. But Congress, the speaker position especially, has enormous power, and he's just relinquishing it over to the Democrats. And he's one in the
business. If we had a business going, Johnson would be the name on the signature on the front of the checks. Really?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he writes the checks as Speaker of the House. Now, I'm sure you were being tongue-in-cheek, not encouraging citizens to go to the border with a rifle. I don't advocate for that. But in all seriousness, though, what is your position on how we secure the border? Because even when Donald Trump was in office and he had the flow down to as low as we had seen it in over 35 years, we still had people able to get into the country illegally. So what's your suggested approach that you'll advocate for when you get to Congress?
It almost seems like the only thing to get something done is go to Elon Musk. I'm sure he's got some kind of a genius idea that we could collaborate with him, collaborate with the minds of the geniuses that make us a robot. We can make a robot, throw it on Mars, but we can't make a wall or an effective wall or a fence. It's crazy. In this day and age, we've got hostile states of Iran, North Korea. Those are the two most ones that I could think of that are constantly got, I won't say the words I really want to say, they've got it in for us. They, for whatever reason, they're constantly out there. We're going to nuke you. We're going to nuke you. We're going to nuke you. If I threaten anything remotely like that, feds are going to come bust down my door, haul me out, throw me in jail. Iran does it. We send them a bag of money. That's just crazy. And that's your money. They're sending our money to those foreign hostile states.
Exactly right. Well, we've got a question over in the audience. I want to go ahead and take that. Patriot Rob's the host over there. Rob, who's got their hand up?
Elizabeth, go right ahead, my dear.
Thank you. Good morning, Colonel. Okay, this is a question I'm getting where I'm asking every politician that is running for office. What are you going to do to keep from being bought and manipulated into voting with this illegal BS that is going on? Because that's what seems to be what is happening. Everybody is afraid of the Democratic Party. They are afraid of the lobbyists. What are you going to do to keep from being bought by these organizations?
I hate to even bring up this because Mike Johnson has brought up God many times, and I'm sure he's going to answer for that one day. I honestly keep God at the forefront. I'm human. I have, my faults and failures. I will, sometimes my temper gets the best of me. I will not be part of that club. I have no interest to be their friend because I realize they are not friends of our country. They're up there destroying our country. I have no intention to get up there and think, oh, they're my friend, like the Democrats are doing to Mike Johnson. Democrats are trying to make it sound like they're our friends to this country. They're not. They're destroying this country. They have destroyed the morality of this country. I'm flat broke. I am flat broke. The amount that I raised in campaign finance, I had to spend on a website, and it may not be a flamboyant website, but it's still a website, and I had to get it up and running. So I don't really have anything left. If anybody I know you're concerned. I share that same concern because the thoughts crossed my mind. What if they grab a skeleton and try to use it against me? Try to manipulate, hold it over my head. First of all, if that ever was to come to that point, I would be upfront with the public and tell them, okay, first of all, if it's a skeleton that I can't explain, I would back out. Most of my faults and failures, I can definitely explain. So I don't see that happening at all. I won't take PAC money. I won't take special interest money. I have no interest in what they have to say. I don't even want to hear somebody from a special interest group. I haven't been approached yet. I have been approached with those research firms out of DC that want $50,000 to $100,000 to help with the campaign. And I'm like, I'm a broke school teacher. I don't have anything to give you. Would you come on board for free? And of course, they decline. So my interest is with the people. My interest is with America. My interest is to safeguard and protect what's left before they destroy the rest of it, before they sell the rest of it, before they give it away. In most cases, that's what they've been doing. They've been giving our country away to other countries, especially the United Nations and NATO. We need to get out of those organizations. And the majority of what I found, the majority of people out there share that same sentiment. They want us out of NATO. They want us out of the United Nations, the World Economic Forum. I want us out of those garbage organizations. We're spending way too much money, and for what? Oh, and you could say they work. They don't work. The United Nations does not work. We shouldn't be part of it at all. And my feeling, my stance is, though, getting back to your question, is that no, I will not be bought and paid for. I have no interest. My interest in my heart is to safeguard my children's future America, your children's future America, which they're selling it down the river. They're giving it away.
You want to secure our people's borders, not somebody else's. We got to take another break, Josh. When we come back, I want to dive into the FISA 702 betrayal, and you'll notice a trend here, folks, with these clips. They all have the word betrayal involved. We'll be right back on the Rob Maness Show on X Spaces simulcast and live on all our social media channels.
I'm excited to announce we're having a huge MyPillow spring sale, and here's a few examples. Buy one of our MyPillow 2.0s, you get another MyPillow 2.0 absolutely free. Made with cooling technology, the best pillow ever just got even better. And this just in, 9 brand new colors and styles of our Percale bed sheets. They're made with the finest long staple cotton, and now you can save 50% or more. That's as low as $24.98. And for the first time this year, I'm bringing you our My Slippers and Sandals for as low as $25 a pair. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get your MyPillow 2.0s. Buy one, get one free. Percale sheets as low as $24.98. My Slippers and Sandals as low as $25 a pair. And for a limited time, when you order $75 or more, your entire order ships absolutely free.
What happened? What would cause somebody to flip from fighting hard in a committee to all of a sudden having the deciding vote as speaker? Was he an imposter all along?
I'm coming to that conclusion. I don't think his family's locked up in the basement somewhere, being tortured. Those claims are ridiculous. I don't even believe that he went in a skiff and learned something that we don't know, because I spent 3.5 hours in the skiff with Mike Johnson. Remember, I'm on the Judiciary Committee, and I got the same briefing he got from CIA, NSA, DOD, FBI, DNI, FISA judge. They were all in that skiff. It was actually a 4-hour meeting. After 3.5 hours, I said, this is enough. This is a waste of time. You haven't given us one example of where spying on Americans without a warrant was able to help you avert terrorism. They gave us hypotheticals, and then they gave us examples of how spying on foreigners overseas without a warrant was helpful. But they never gave us an example. So you don't believe his story that he went to the skiff and he learned something. That's not true.
So, but I'm just shocked. I haven't heard anyone say that as crisply as you has. I want to repeat that. You were in the same skiff as Speaker Johnson, because I got really fired up at Speaker Johnson on this vote, and I called him and I texted him, and he was arguing from authority with me, Congressman, saying, Charlie, if you were in the skiff like I was, you would understand. And I literally have this in writing. You think innocent Americans will die if we require the FBI to get a warrant? ? I do.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. We're on Truth Thursday, and we're talking with Speaker Mike Johnson's primary opponent, Joshua Murat, here from Louisiana on the show today. And Josh, that little clip from Charlie Kirk and Congressman Tom Massey of Kentucky was very interesting. That was the first time I'd heard somebody that sat next to Johnson in the skiffs where they brief up the intelligence and the classified information, where he walked out of it and said he was going to be the deciding. He decided he was going to be the deciding vote and go ahead by his vote, reapprove and renew FISA 702. It's the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act section that allows the FBI and all of our intelligence agencies to spy on American citizens without a warrant. That's incredible. What are your thoughts on that, and then the issue itself, and what you would do if you were up in Congress?
They should have just defunded it. It makes absolutely no sense to have that at all. In fact, what should be talked about is the fact that they used all of that to go after Trump during his 2016 campaign. They took and they abused what was already there to try to frame or get dirt on Trump to extort him. It's absolutely, and this, he is supposed to be a constitutional expert. He calls himself a constitutional lawyer. How on earth can you sit there and be the deciding vote to go against the Constitution? It's whatever. He's full of it. It should be abolished. We shouldn't have programs like that at all. That's what you have local jurisdictional police force to do. You've got FBI, DHS, you got all kinds of branches of the government already there that have the capabilities to get in there. If anything, it would be something different if they came out and they say, we need this because we are going after some hard criminals that are sex trafficking. And here's some of the evidence or whatever. Nah, we're just supposed to take their word for it. We're supposed to take their word for it that they're doing innocent things with this program. And I'm not buying into it. It should be illegal.
Well, my question is, why would anybody sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States vote for a law or to renew a law that violates the Fourth Amendment?
I honestly
the requirement for a warrant.
I honestly think that program's sole purpose to exist is to gather blackmail. I honestly believe that. There's no telling if the feds are got a case on me right now, trying to say he's one of the guys. He's an extremist, because we got a vice president that loves to sit there and say extremist. So people like me, Tea Party people, MAGA, the MAGA movement, most likely are classified as extremists, even though we are defending the document that they are supposed to defend and sworn to defend, and they're not.
Well, we know the FBI has done it, and the FBI, the ATF, DEA all show up with no-knock warrants and armed to the teeth. They even did it at Mar-a-Lago on a former president in violation of the law, because they would never have done that and tried to serve a search warrant looking for drugs from the DEA on the White House, because the same law that stops them from doing that with showing up with armed to the teeth is the same law that should have protected Mar-a-Lago of a former president. So we know that these agencies are not following the law, and they're getting people killed. They killed the director of the airport at Little Rock by showing up in the middle of the night when they didn't even need to do that. They could have showed up at the airport. He wouldn't be armed there, for God's sake, and conduct the search warrant there. It's crazy. It's crazy what's happening, and what's even crazier is that Congressman Mike Johnson from Louisiana, after all of his statements, he becomes the deciding vote to renew FISA 702. So what's your position on the agencies like the FBI and those kind of law enforcement agencies that are really extra constitutional, in my opinion? The Constitution doesn't give the federal government law enforcement power. The law enforcement power is down at the sheriff level and the local police level. Even the state police is kind of questionable from a constitutional perspective. What's your position on that, and how you what are you going to advocate and vote for or write into law to try to change that?
We need to abolish those agencies that are not authorized by the Constitution. Our federal government is way too inflated. It's too blown up. They're just finding more ways to go after you, the citizen. If you're speaking out and using your freedom of speech, those that are out there, like the January 6th people, there's a reason the FBI wants to be very shady on answering any direct questions. There's a reason that the CIA is very shady when it comes to this stuff. There's a perfectly good reason why Snowden is not in America. He knows too much. And they don't like people that know too much. They don't like people that are critical thinkers. They don't like people that like America, because we have to understand and realize it's no longer the United States of America that's running the show. We have radicals in office, in those authoritative positions, to where they're making decisions on our behalf that are supposed to be in our best interest, and it's not. They're just finding more ways to assert control. We need to put more control back to people.
Absolutely right. Well, let's go over to the audience. I know we've got another question over there to our host, Rob, Patriot Rob. Go ahead, Rob.
Thank you, Colonel. Thank you, Josh. I have quite a few questions. I'm going to limit it to one right now. I see that you're very pro-Second Amendment. How pro-Second Amendment are you? Does it align with your pro-recreational marijuana stance and getting rid of that off the 4473?
I am very much pro-Second Amendment. That amendment was put in there so we would have an armed citizen, an armed militia, for the purpose of what we see now. Now, I'm not advocating or trying to suggest that we need an insurrection. No, we need an Article 5 Convention of States. But my personal view is, if I want to own a bazooka, that's my God-given right. If I aim my bazooka at somebody, then yes, that's illegal. But if I want to build me a tank, or if I want to buy a tank, if I have Elon Musk money and I want to go and buy me an armored car, a tank, that's my right, according to the Second Amendment. That's something they don't want us to have. They want to strip us down to where we have nothing to really defend ourselves against tyrants. That's the whole purpose. It's to have checks and balances. That's the ultimate check and balance right there, is to have an armed citizenry. I've done floated off. I have ADD, so you have to excuse me. What was that other question?
Well, it's actually a part B to that, is there are a lot of people that are conservatives or on the right that don't have the view about recreational marijuana. Like, I don't smoke. I never have, actually, and I'm against doing it, but I'm against also it being illegal. How do you work that out with your constituents that might be less open to, making marijuana, not illegal anymore, and making it for recreational use?
Well, even the Biden administration recently rolled back on their classification of it. Am I still coming in clear? It seems like I'm cutting out.
Yeah,
All
go
right.
ahead.
it's just something that I personally view. I use it medicinally. It has tremendously helped with my anxiety. It's tremendously helped with depression. It's tremendously helped my overall function. Did I use this morning? No. Did I use now? No. I think people should have that right. I feel like it's probably safer than half the prescription drugs, and that's what we need to start calling it like it is. Our government is in the drug business. They're profiting off of it. I don't think for a second that half the stuff that is prescribed is safe. It's Dr. Error is the third leading cause of death. Do I think marijuana is causing a bunch of chaos? No. I respect those that have opposing views of me, just like I do on any view, except for the anti-American view. But as far as like the marijuana view, I respect those that disagree that it should be made legal. It is going that direction to be regulated by states to where it's going through. I think it's disingenuous to sit there and say that it's dangerous and try to cash in on the marketing of it, because that's what the government's doing. They are profiting greatly. I cannot imagine how many elected officials are depending on pharmaceutical companies' endorsements or their pocketbooks and their fundraising.
Oh yeah,
events.
yeah. Just look at the stocks they buy and their incredible record of gains that they get, and then who donates to them. You're absolutely right. Well, we got to take our last break, Josh. When we come back, we'll hear a little bit more about Congressman Johnson's betrayal on Ukraine, because the American people, majority of Republicans, are opposed to the funding of Ukraine that just happened under Mike Johnson's control. We'll be right back on the Rob Maness Show.
Consumers often ask, what should I expect when I take the Bella Grace Elixir? And the answer's varied. It really depends on what your health and wellness needs are. I would consider this as your foundational core product for a whole range of health and wellness issues. Let me give you a few examples. If you're a little bit older and you have some joint health issues, some problems with mobility and discomfort, the elixir is going to be your best friend. If you have some skin health issues, wrinkles, hydration, aging, all of those elements are going to be benefited from the elixir, including age spots. Now, if you're in a visual health is where you need some assistance, eye fatigue, dry eyes, all of those are going to be benefited by the elixir. It's a core product because it benefits so many. A lot of people are having great success with a weight management program with Bella Trim, but it's just a tool. In terms of ingredients, Chromex or chromium picolinate improves the actions of insulin, so you have better glucose management, and in addition, it promotes fat utilization. Fat utilization, or fat burning, is also a feature of metabolite, which are two botanicals that stimulate a switch called AMP kinase, and so you tend to burn fat, reduce belly fat or visceral fat. Who doesn't want that? Metabolite has the ability to stimulate satiety or reduce those cravings. That's really very, very important. And it does that by raising GLP-1 levels. In addition, we've addressed the microbiome by using prebiotics. Healthier microbiome, better weight management.
And let's get to the third chapter in this you call betrayal this weekend. How did we all of a sudden go from the speaker saying no Ukraine money without border security money to a bunch of Ukrainian flags flying in such a short period of time? Walk us through what happened this weekend.
Well, It's a long story, like how they actually did it. I want to start here. There was a veterans bill in the House called H.R. 815 that was going to expand reimbursements for veterans who got emergency care. The Senate took that bill, stripped everything out of it, and put the funding for this, it's called the Foreign Aid Supplemental. It's all for foreign wars. They sent it back to the House. What we did this week is we pretended to pass 4 separate bills and pretended to put those together in one package and send it to the Senate. But what we actually did is we amended the Senate supplemental, the H.R. 15 that started out as a veterans bill. I don't mean to confuse you. I just want to let you know this thing pinged back and forth, and it started out under bad pretenses. Now, Speaker Johnson did say he was going to add border to this, but Chuck Schumer said we're not going to pass it if it's got border on it. So Speaker Johnson took the border off. That's it. It's that simple. He didn't want to fight here.
And then...
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's Truth Thursday, and Mike Johnson's got an opponent, Josh Murat from the 4th District of Louisiana up in northwest Louisiana is running against him because he sees what he's doing, just like Congressman Massey was talking about there, in that Speaker Johnson betrayed the American people, the majority of Republicans, and actually passed that bill, Josh, having to use Democrats to get the rule passed, which is the rule committee that has to pass a bill out in order for it to get to the floor, and then had to use Democrats to pass the bill itself. More than half of the Republicans in the House of Representatives voted against this Ukraine funding. And I want to get your take on that little part of the magic of the process. And to remind everybody, they used the sleight of hand that Massey described with gutting a bill in the Senate and sending it back over with all the parts of what they really want to pass in it with Obamacare. That's how that happened. Go ahead, Josh. What are your thoughts on the process? And then obviously, I want to get your thoughts on the Ukraine funding and national security, foreign aid, those kinds of things.
It's heartbreaking. It's I don't know any other way to put it other than to just genuinely say how I feel, and it's anger. It's absolute anger. They are prioritizing, and the government has been prioritizing other nationalities over our own. We have veterans that are doing without. We have our senior citizens that are doing without. We have people actually hurting in this country, people at the bottom that are actually hurting. And our government is making it worse by giving all our money away. Our government's making it worse because every time they spend money that we really don't have is driving up the inflation. And then they're going to artificially come and try to make it sound like, oh, we're going to do you a favor. And that's how they've been playing and pawning this off. It's all for our best interest. It's for us. It's not coming to me. It's not going to you. It's going to them. And they're selling it like it's a good thing. We're going to take money that you have a need for, and we're going to throw it over there. I'm 100% against all foreign aid. 100% against all foreign aid. We should not even be pretending to be some rich Saudi state because we got leftists that are running this country into the ground with their energy policies. Instead of using our own energy resources, we're actually, begging the Saudis, and we're begging the Middle East. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. We have an abundance of oil. We have an abundance of natural gas, and we're sitting here begging other countries, and we're giving money to them in foreign aid. It's absolutely crazy. I have you mentioned earlier, my dad, he's an aging veteran. I was looking at just one day outside. I wonder if there's retirement communities that we can look at. And for veterans, no, I think when I Googled it, I found two retirement communities in the entire country that have something, and it's probably obviously not going to be open. I would like to see the formation. I intend to introduce that into legislation, a formation of retirement communities for our veterans. They deserve our utmost respect and our gratitude. And how is Mike Johnson? How is Mike Johnson and the rest of the goon squad up there, treating our veterans? and treating our NCOs, it's absolutely crazy. You know, it's disgusting what the pay grade is for Congress. People should be demanding that they cut each individual congressional member's pay in half. They should not be getting $174,000 a year plus perks. I'm pretty sure after perks and after they get to eat like kings and queens on your tax dime, we should be demanding that they take a pay cut and throw that money to our veterans, throw it to increase on the pay scale for our armed forces.
Yeah, but they're going to complain that they won't be able to rent $1 million townhouse, Josh. Well, we got one last hand left. We're coming to the end of this last segment, so I want to give the opportunity to the audience to ask this last question before we wrap it up. Go ahead, Patriot Rob.
Jeff, go right ahead, my friend.
Good afternoon, guys. Just want to make a couple of points that I've been fighting. The government has been trying to smash me for 35 years for just trying to, stand up for the legalization of marijuana, even though I can't smoke as an aircraft mechanic when I'm working. It's a DOT, rule. 18-wheeler truck drivers and aircraft mechanics are not allowed to smoke pot, and that's okay. That's okay. But for them to be the largest drug dealers in the history of humanity, even just as big as the cartel, is the United States government, and they're killing people with medication. Secondly, Ukraine, we're coming up on tank season, as the colonel knows, and Dunkirk and the battles of World War II will prove that the Ukrainian army is going to get slaughtered this summer, and they should know this. If they've studied military history, it's dry season. The tanks will be able to pivot and move around the blockades that the Ukrainians have set up, and they're going to get wiped out. And it's just shameful, sad that we're throwing hundreds of billions of dollars into watching all of these men die for what? Russia's going to win. And they're just so much bigger than Ukraine. I don't know whose thought process thought that Ukraine could hang in there against Russia. It ain't going to happen. Thirdly, the cartel and the Chinese CCP in Mexico is our number one concern, according to several experienced, highly professional people that have stated that China is bed in with fentanyl. They're in bed with the cartels with pseudoephedrine, and also in human trafficking.
Oh, absolutely agree, Jeff. All great points and exactly right. Let's give Josh the opportunity to close this out with his views on national defense and what our approach should be, because as Jeff pointed out, I mean, we are making poor decisions around the world, ignoring the real threat, China and its fentanyl flow and the cartels and all of the illegals that they're putting in this country. And they're building Navy, they're doubling their ICBM force, they're building 400 fighter aircraft to our 3. They're outbuilding us in ships. And the United States is a maritime nation. We do have national security needs, but we're wasting all of our capital in places like Ukraine instead of building our strength up so we don't have to fight wars. What's your solution proposals to that, Josh? Go ahead.
It's crazy. I see NATO poking and prodding the bear. NATO wants a war. We need to get out of NATO. NATO is dragging us into a war. They're bleeding and sucking us dry. Probably it's the agenda is to weaken America. The Democrats have already weakened our military. They've taken all the good generals out. They've stuck, their transsexuals in place that I don't think any of our men and women in uniform appreciate. China is not our friend. We need to stop pretending that China is an ally and that we can negotiate with them. They're building a massive army, and it's with purpose. So I don't know how much time we got left. So I feel like, yeah, they're leaving us wide open. They're leaving our borders open. They're weakening our military. They're depleting our defense. They're depleting our ammunition.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, thank you so much for coming to talk to us today and answering questions from the audience. You're going to get a lot of practice doing that over the next 7 months as you take on Mike Johnson. Joshua Marat, you can find him on X. We've had his X account showing, josh4congress.com. Go spread it around, give him a donation. Let's give Johnson a run for his money, so to speak, and at least get his attention. So this man's message can get out, because it's really the American people's message. He's talking about things that the people in your neighborhoods are talking about. I'll see you next week. I'm off on More War Monday because it's Memorial Day, where we're going to honor those who have given the last measure of devotion for this country. And I'm giving a speech over at the memorial over here at Biloxi in Mississippi on the Gulf Coast. But Tuesday, we'll be Training Tuesday again, and I'll see you this time, a new time, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, for Rob Maness Live.